First YouTube video, kind of nervous. Now, some people say that high school is the best years of your life. Some people peak in high school, which is kind of upsetting because I can understand college, partying, drinking, being free. I don't know what you do in college, but high school? You like stinky hallways that are crowded and teachers who don't take you seriously? But for me, it's not horrible, but it's not good. It's fine. I've managed. I'm going to my sophomore year, so I've gotten this far. But, I kind of just want to graduate already. In 8th grade, the entirety of middle school sucked. I hated it all. But it's just kind of the transition between 8th grade to 9th grade, where at least for me, I felt like I matured a lot, and I'm going into sophomore year, so I just got done with freshman. But I'm like, some of you guys haven't even matured now that we're going into our second year of high school. And, people mature at their own pace, but I'm just like, what's going on? Because the vibe in high school is definitely older kids, more expectations, you're having to think about college and stuff, but nobody's taking shit seriously. First day of, freshman year, I was like, whoa, there's gonna be basically adult people going into their senior years. They're the oldest kids here. Some of these guys have beards. But then I actually got a few months in and I'm like, the kids don't care about the teachers. I'm no goody two-shoes. I'm not a teacher's pet. What really pisses me off is those kids who just sit in groups in the back of the class and they're talking and joking the entire time, and then the teacher is giving them homework and they're like, what, you're giving us homework? I don't know how to do this. This is so hard. And then we walk out of class and I hear them oh yeah, I'm just gonna use ChatGPT. ChatGPT? We have to write 3 sentences. What do you need ChatGPT for? And just the normalization of AI in school is kind of really depressing. Even with the teachers. With students, I'm okay, maybe you don't know everything, but you really should be educated on this, but if you're not, I guess. But with teachers are using generative AI to make their lesson plans and put pictures up on the screens for their lessons. No. My math teacher also encourages kids to use AI, or I guess my last math teacher, hopefully I don't get him again because he sucked. He was encouraging kids to use AI on, whatever they didn't understand. He was like, oh yeah, well, if you don't understand it, just put it into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT explain it for you. That's your job. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's what you're supposed to be doing, actually. He was also just, really annoying, because there were a lot of, the stereotypical, popular kids in that class, and I don't want to be that guy to call them popular kids, but they were, and they acted like it, and they were really annoying, and I sat by, a lot of them, but the math teacher was, exactly like them, just an old man, and there was this one kid that was kind of, the teacher's pet, but he was also, a popular bad kid. He was constantly talking and constantly making jokes. And sometimes the teacher would actually yell at him, but most of the time, he would just, laugh along and be like, this guy. Oh, but if I were to do that, no, I'm getting sent out to the hallway, right? He was just... I loved my history teacher. I was so mad that I didn't get him for my second semester, because all throughout middle school, I've hated history. It was so boring. It sucked ass. But then he came along, and I'm like, wow, I actually want to learn now. He was always super loud, but I kind of like that about him. But that was when we were learning about, I don't know, war. I passed all the tests that I got, so it worked. He had ADHD. I probably have it. I don't know for sure, I haven't got diagnosed, but I probably have it. The way he taught helped me learn more. I don't know. I think the only couple of times that I got in trouble in his class was when the kid by me, I wouldn't call him a friend, but he would argue with me all the time, and then can't take a hint when class is starting and the teacher is talking to stop arguing with me. I was completely turned around, looking at the teacher. All eyes on him. Ears and eyes. I was ready. And then the kid behind me was just argue. I hate him. Same English teacher for first semester and second semester. She's lovely. First day of school, I met her and I was like, I'm gonna like you. But for some reason, like, a lot of the other kids didn't like her, and I was always, like, really confused. By the time first semester was over, she was already kind of, like, done, which made me really sad because I had her second semester. But she was, like, a genuinely sweet teacher, and everyone was like, oh, I don't like her attitude. Oh, she's always yelling. She's always doing this and that. And I'm like, yeah, she's yelling because she's trying to show you how to do the work, and your listening ears aren't on, but I don't know what you want her to do. But also, like, I think English is, like, the easiest subject. You're not really learning that much new. You're just learning how to do what you already learned a lot more. Because math is hard as fuck. No one knows how to do math, and if you know how to do math, you're a fucking nerd. There's no way you know how to do math. History, you just gotta remember, and if you don't have a good teacher, then you're gonna fail. Science, I don't even know what's going on in science half the time. I just kind of associate things in my brain and just hope I remember it. The reading part, I don't love reading. Some people do. Personally, I don't really. I read fan fiction, if that counts. Most books, I might have dyslexia, because sometimes when I'm reading it, I have really bad reading comprehension, and, like, I can't read the words sometimes. I also probably need glasses. There's a lot of problems. I still like English. It's still fun, but just some of the books that we have to read are really boring. Also, there's gonna be a lot of cuts in this video. You've probably already noticed, but I stutter a lot, so a lot of the things that are coming out of my mouth don't make sense at all, so just bear with me. If it wasn't for theater, I would have no friends. That's not true. I would have 5 new friends, but most of my new friends are from theater, and most of my upperclassmen friends are from theater. But it also just, like, made me less scared, because I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of scared to go to the rest of my classes when I get back to my home school. Like, I'm scared to, like, talk to people and talk to the teachers, but I'm like, I'm improvising as a cat in front of, like, 12 other people. I think if I could do that, I could go back to school and talk to my teacher about my grade. But it was also just, like, a safe space, because theater, yay. I'm playing with a duck, by the way. But I think second semester was kind of downhill from first semester. And then second semester, I kind of got, like, really sucky classes, and all of, like, the cool new people that I met started to, like, not theater people, well, we'll get into that. But, like, most of the people from my home school, the cool people that I met, I got to know them more, and I'm like, ooh, wait, I don't want to be around you, actually. You kind of suck. But also my classes were, like, really boring. And with math, it was really hard, because I hated the teacher second semester. That was the guy I was complaining about. First semester, the teacher was fine. The kids in there were fine. Those were the kids that I later started to really not like. They were all boys, so, like, one girl with a group of boys is kind of weird. At least I had one girlfriend. She was cool, but all the other guys kind of sucked. Except for one of them. One of them was really cool. But the rest of them... One of them is my ex-boyfriend, too. So maybe that's why. So then second semester came, and I got a new teacher, and he was, like, the annoying one that was, like, kind of strict. And I was like, wait, what the fuck are we doing? But also, I'm bored out of my mind. All I want to do is go to lunch. And then once I get out of lunch, I have to come back here? No! Okay, I'm editing right now, and I forgot to mention that I also had a history teacher after the one I was just talking about that was, like, kind of weird with students. And he was, like, really nice, but he also would talk about his divorce to the kids. Apparently, some of the other kids knew about, like, his new girlfriends and how he had, like, multiple girlfriends. There was also one time where one of the girls wanted to know what he was drinking and, like, what it tasted like, and instead of just, like, saying no, he got out a paper cup and poured her a drink from his personal thermos. There was also this girl, oh my god, there was also this one time where I was taking a piss in the bathroom, And I came out of my stall and I saw one of my older friends. She's a sophomore, and I was washing my hands as I was saying hi to her. And then, she had to leave, so she left. And then these two other girls came out of this one stall, and the one girl had it was like a hallway pass, but it was like a big bell. And she literally came out and she started staring at me as I was washing my hands, and she started jingling it in my face. She also asked me something. I don't remember what she asked me, but it was kind of bitchy. And then as soon as I left, her and her friends started cackling, and I was like, who are you? There was a couple of 8th graders when I was in 6th grade who were really mean, and there was one blonde girl who was really mean, and I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, that's the same girl. So I guess high school doesn't make you more mature. First semester, I became friends with this junior guy, and you could probably already guess where this is going. We became friends very quickly because he, in theater, for A block, it was first thing in the morning. I was sitting by my friend who I already knew, and we would talk all the time, and he sat in front of us. And I made a joke one of the first days of school, because he's not that horrible looking. Now that I look at him, yeah, he's kind of gross. But at the time I was he's not horrible looking. And so I told my friend, and we were joking about it, and then he learned our names, and he would talk to us and giggle with us. And he was a good friend. And eventually the lunch table I sat at with all my girlfriends, I told them about him. I was yeah, there's this cool guy in theater that I talked to. And they're oh yeah, really? And we found him during lunch, and we didn't talk to him, but we spotted him out of the crowd, and he sat alone. And I brought it up to him during theater. I was you don't gotta sit alone, you can come sit with us. I didn't really expect him to, because I'm he's a junior guy with a freshman table full of girls. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm ooh, why did I do that? But it made sense. I was trying to be a nice person. I'm yeah, if you sit alone, come sit with us. And then he did, which was really surprising. And now that I know his backstory, I know why he sits alone, but I didn't know that before. I didn't know. So I invited him over, and he was chill for the first couple of days that I knew him. And then, we started up production. I wasn't there for the first day of rehearsal, but I was there for the second. We were looking for costumes, and these two girls that were in my class in A block, they asked me about it, and they're hey, are you friends with him? And I was yeah. Yeah, we sit at the same lunch table where I'm friends with him. Yeah, why? Let's call him Tommy. I don't know. They're oh, you're friends with Tommy? And I'm yeah, what's wrong with that? And they're he's kind of weird. And I was oh fuck. I was don't tell me he's a creep or something. And they're yeah, he's kind of a creep. Because apparently they were thinking oh yeah, he was kind of weird freshman, a little bit of sophomore year, but maybe he's grown since then, maybe he's good. So I don't know, you don't have to stop being friends with him, but at least put up boundaries in case he does anything weird. And in case he does anything weird, tell us. Ooh, hopefully nothing happens. Spoiler alert, a lot happened. Also, it's important to mention, I also made this friend, let's call him Kyle. Basically, me and Kyle and Tommy became a little trio in theater, but Kyle seemed to really like Tommy. Mind you, Kyle had a boyfriend that was also in that class. And it was kind of weird because every time we would hang out during theater, we would talk, it was me and Kyle were fighting for Tommy's attention. But it was one-sided because I didn't care. But Kyle really did. When I got home, I called Kyle and I was hey, I talked to the two girls from our theater class, and they told me some stuff about Tommy, and I don't know if we should stay friends with him, because I guess he's kind of a creep. And then Kyle was oh no, forgot to mention, Tommy liked me. It was first few weeks of school, apparently it got around, the two girls were talking to me because they found out from word of mouth that Tommy already liked me. Which is crazy because if your grades don't touch, neither should you. Freshman, sophomore, that's okay. Junior, senior, that's okay. Sophomore, junior, yeah, that's okay. Freshman and junior? No. Especially because, like, one of the things that made me want to be friends with him is because, like, he reminded me of my older brother. And when I brought that fact up to, Kyle, I was like, yeah, I think Tommy's, like, trying to prey on me. Kyle goes, oh, I wish he would prey on me. What? And then he's like, no, I mean, like, it would just be nice to have, like, an older guy, like, call me pretty, and, like, want to hang out with me and like me. And I'm like, Kyle, Tommy's a junior. You're a freshman. And he's like, yeah, I know, but it would just be nice. Like, I don't actually want him. And I'm like, Kyle, you have a boyfriend. And he's like, yeah, I know. It's just like a silly little crush, though. It doesn't count. Spoiler alert, it does. And basically, when I found this out, I texted one of the girls, and I was like, hey, so maybe it's not me and Tommy you gotta watch out for, it's Kyle and Tommy. Because what Kyle said is fucking weird. First couple weeks of freshman year, already ruining two kids' reputations. Tommy's was already ruined. Nobody really liked Tommy. But Kyle...
There's also, like, a lot more to Kyle and Tommy. There's, like, a lot of lore, so I might make a future video about that.
There was my one friend, and we were watching a video of Megan Thee Stallion, and we were, like, thirsting over Megan Thee Stallion, obviously, as one does. And then he called my friend the F-slur. Mind you, you've kissed a boy before. I don't want to hear it. While you were dating your girlfriend, by the way. Basically, I had an intervention. As soon as that happened, we had the stage manager talk to him, and then the head of costuming, which was one of the girls from the class, she, like, pulled him aside. Also, yeah, it was because, like, every time that anyone besides me would do his makeup, he would get, like, really pissed. He was, like, cussing under his breath at this one girl who was, like, doing his hair because he had to be an old man, and she was, like, graying up his hair, and he was mad because, I don't know, she was pulling on his hair, she was brushing through. Maybe you don't have naughty hair. Basically, the girl from my class had to pull him aside and be like, hey, don't disrespect my crew. It was really funny because it happened, like, after the show ended. So everyone went out into, like, the open area, like, after the show to get, like, their flowers and stuff. And then as everyone was coming back, me and this one girl had to tell him, be like, hey, so-and-so, the head of costuming, she needs to see you backstage. And he's like, oh, okay. So we waited until he went down the hallway and we followed him, and then she met him, like, around this corner, and, like, he was over here around the corner talking to her, but then everyone else was coming back to grab their stuff. We're like, wait, they're talking to him, they're talking to Tommy. So then we all kind of, like, piled up against the wall and were, like, peeking around the corner trying to hear the conversation. It was so funny until their conversation ended and we didn't know, and then he walked around the corner and saw, like, 20 people standing there trying to listen in, and we all just kind of scattered. And then during class, my friend made a joke about him being, like, a pedo, and he got really mad and started screaming at her once everyone found out that he liked a freshman. And he was also just doing other weird stuff and being weird on top of everything that he did in the past to be weird. No one really liked him anymore, and I feel bad. I don't know why I'm defending a man. I have to remember that I'm like, it's not all about me. Like, because what he did to me wasn't that bad. He was just kind of creepy and had a crush on me, and he was just, like, weird. It's kind of worse when you think about the things that he did to other people. He was just creepy. He was just a creep. But other than that, it was pretty great, honestly. I'm kind of mad. Other than that, I didn't really get any play. Not with girls, not with guys. I did have one boyfriend at the beginning of the year. That's my first kiss. He was a sweet guy, but he was really boring. We had nothing in common. Kinda only liked him when I kissed him. Ugh. But I broke up with him after, like, a month, and I felt really bad. But we had, like, nothing in common. And I'm pretty sure he was Christian, even though I'm, like, anti-religion and gay. My duck is breaking. What the hell? It was only like $5, and I didn't even pay for it. Yeah, but high school really wasn't that bad. It wasn't horrible. Hopefully next year's better, but probably won't be. But if you watched all the way through this video, then thanks. Really appreciate it.